Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and here we are again, Operation Defense of Naval Port Newport. And this is a follow-up to yesterday's video where I talked about the mode, kind of the tips and tricks, and how to go about it. And immediately after posting that video, I hopped in stream. Basically anyone who had joined me in a division, I added. And funnily enough, this was the game after a couple people I was playing with left, and it's the one I got 5 stars. So I'm going to talk about some more of the things I touched on in yesterday's video and really just discuss what made this a success so that everyone out there can hopefully also get 5 stars. And failing that, at least try to get 4, because 4 is where you get the 10-point captain and some of the big bonuses. The 5 is really more, I'd say, almost bragging rights and a day of premium if that is something you're after. So you'll notice I'm in my Dunkirk, and I have found this ship to be amazing. And if you don't have the Dunkirk, that's fine. It's the characteristics of the ship that make it good, and it's the speed and frontal firepower. Which, if I'm going to extend to other things, I'd say the Fuso is another very good ship because of how much firepower it can bring, and its ability to just get somewhere a little bit quicker than, say, something like the Warspite. Now, you'll notice in this one, most of the team is pushing out aggressively. And like I commented yesterday, for that third wave to really be able to defend against them, you cannot, I absolutely stress that, cannot be sitting back inside your bubble. It just doesn't work well. Can it work? Maybe, but we have never had success. In fact, the games where most people I find are inside this green circle, the third wave gets in, or you don't manage to kill the third wave before the final attack wave spawns, meaning you don't get your carrier to spawn, an enemy carrier spawns. Now on the carrier spawn, the trend I've noticed is there's 2 places the initial wave starts, either in the north or in the west. If it spawns in the north, your carrier is probably going to spawn in E10. If it starts in the west, you're going to see the carrier spawn in J4. And with that comes a Mogami and Hipper almost attached to the carrier's hip. And if you're successful in stopping that third wave, the next objective becomes protecting your carrier, and that is very difficult to do. And that's going to be where we see this game really succeed. And you can see some great communication. Battleship 4 saying, don't worry about the CV, I've got him. And Battleship 4 was doing a great job as a CV for us. And I love having a CV in this mode for the vision and just ability to nuke things that it brings. And with a good CV captain, pretty much every ship in this is, a target. The bots don't do a great job of grouping their AA up, so even when the Zumo comes, despite being a tier 6 carrier, you can do some massive damage to that Izumo. So you'll notice the push that I'm doing, and what I did is I came out on the flank of that first group, and I'm basically going to sweep up, trying to always be on the side of the attacking group, giving me better shots. I find a lot of people kind of do what this other Dunkirk or Arizona, and they like to kind of come up the middle and shoot down at them. That puts you very nose into the second wave, making it a little bit harder to eliminate them quickly. That said, it does put you in a great position for the third wave, and you're in a neutral position to respond. So a mixture of the two seems to work well. You can see our Independence, he's moving up. He's not sitting back with Liberty ships. He's going to get up close to this island. And that's really going to help too, because it gets us those planes quicker. They don't have as far to fly, and sitting behind that island, it's a safe place to be. It's a big enough island that you're not going to get spotted or attacked. Now, I'm stopping here, nose into the Kaiser and Isuzuchi, and I'm not concerned about the aircraft because I know our Indy is going to do his job. And, well, speaking of that, Isuzuchi eats a crap ton of torps, big damage. Unfortunately, that made him bring his bow over, so I kind of do a junk job penetrating there. Being the Dunkirk, you don't have the biggest guns. Angled armor really is the enemy of this ship. So you can see Goomba off to the left in the west there, and he needed to just get distance. And this is where I'll kind of talk the second point. You can see Goomba's on low health. He is going to be a bit of the MVP for this team in this match. He's who lets us get 5 points. Now, you can see our Duca d'Aosta is chasing down the Zuiho. Really not needed, but he's doing it, and he wasn't part of the division, so we didn't have comms with him or really any control. I get a big hit into the Kaiser. Finally, he gets destroyed. So where I'm going for now is this area in EF7. You can see I tagged it. I'm saying, everyone get here. We're going to block this wave. And our whole team, once again, out aggressively. It prevents this third wave from really being able to close quickly. Unfortunately, our one Dunkirk is facing around, and our Duca is up in the north, and he is really going to take himself out of the match. That Duca sails all the way north, like in a round behind. But I guess that proves something else, is you don't need all your ships to do this. On comms, and you can see in chat, I've told everyone, Goomba is going to protect the Lexington. If we're successful in stopping this wave, Goomba is going to be right there to even just act as a bullet sponge for 30 seconds, give the Lexington the time it needs to escape. Now, in this wave, our priority, as you can see, we've kind of talked about it. The Miyoko's number one, the Aoba is dealt with, the carrier's on him, and then the Nuremberg, but the destroyers as well. But beyond the Miyoko, it's kind of first come, first serve who we target, but getting rid of this Miyoko is a priority. It's the highest tier target and can be very tanky if he gets bow in. That said, because they are all pushing due south to get to our base, we've got their flank. It's a perfect situation for us battleships to be in. I land a citadel there, and the Miyoko's done. And getting rid of ships quick here is the name of the game. Now I have AP loaded, so I shoot at the Nuremberg. I do have that Fubuki close, but I felt getting some citadels on that Nuremberg, really knocking his hit points down, was more important. We've got to get close to the island because that Aoba is still alive. We've got a gate, Fubuki. There's going to be torps coming my way. And friendly torps behind me. So you can see I am carefully watching those peds. Guns are just about loaded, lining the Fubuki up. The ships are starting to get close. You can see the Hatsuharu is making a break for it, but our Arizona is there to intercept him. He's right down there. He is sailing, and he's still outside the green. That really is one of the keys to this. We're far enough out that our primary engagement with this group of ships isn't back inside of our own base. It is well outside. You can see the Gade turning to engage me. Those little things like that delay the enemy team, but also really eat through them in a hurry. Now, unfortunately, I'm eating peds. Not much I can do about it, just angle the best I can, and I'm gonna survive. So at this point, with the Hatsu dead, just this Nuremberg and Gade left, we're pretty confident the Lex is gonna spawn. So I'm trying to steer Goomba to pretty much exactly where the Lex is, which is about where my mouse is now. Just the edge of J45, edge of the map, and here he comes. There's the Lexington, and Goomba is close. That is so critical. The rest of us had to be over here engaging, and the Duca is still doing something. And he does apologize at the end of the game. Sorry for going up there. I don't know why he pushed so far out. I think he was maybe hoping to catch the final spawn off guard and get some quick torpedoes into them, but the Duca doesn't have fast torpedoes. It's got sea mines. And there are the enemy ships spawning in. And they are, more often than not, what ruin the 4-star effort. I've been with enough teams that have stopped all 3 of the first waves from getting into the circle. I haven't been with a team that has had a ship, and only one. That's the key. I've played with a team where half the frickin' team tried to sail to where the Lexington was going to spawn to protect the Lexington, and it left me completely alone on a flank facing off an entire wave. Of course, they hit the green circle, and they won. At this point, Goomba knows he's not living. When he went over there, he knew he wasn't living. But his sacrifice is going to be worthwhile. He was trying to get the ram in, just couldn't close the distance. Maybe if he had been a little closer to the spawn, he could have done it, but what he did do was buy us time. And the reason I like competitive team games is It's not about damage. It's not about kills. It's about the plays that win you the game. And sacrificing your ship can win you the game. In this match, I was kind of acting like a caller, and I just said, just do it. He agreed. He did it without thinking. I nail the Mogami, get a bit of revenge for Goomba, and now it's the Hipper, and you can see the Lexington is on great health. 45,000 hit points left. He's making it. There's no way the Hipper's working him down that quickly. Additionally, the Hipper just ate some peds, and it's forced him to turn off, buying our Lexington more space. And Lexington's defending himself. Those were the torpedo planes that hit him, which means here comes our Independence torpedoes. And all of this combined, this focused effort to buy the time we needed and then just eliminate those two ships is what is going to win us. Now you can see the Duca up in the north, behind that Gneisenau in the York. He's on his own. We're really down two ships already, but at this point, it's really hard to lose the game. If you've got most of your team and you're all on about half hit points, you can pretty much win the game every time from this point. And it's because you only have to survive to about 3 minutes, and your friendly ships start showing up to help. Now what is going to be important for us here is just continuing to focus down a target. Battleship 4 just said, me and the Lexington, we've got the Izumo. Don't worry about the Izumo. So we're going to all push and really work on this Miyoko, then the Scharnhorst, then we'll loop up, we'll deal with the Moss, but we're just going to start clearing a flank, buying ourselves that space. And, you know, my gunnery could be a little better sometimes, but that was a pretty lucky shot. And I'm really happy with it. An angled Miyoko, and I got a Citadel in the Dunkirk. And often you'll see people, if anything's even slightly angled, throw an HE. I really, more and more, do like the AP in this thing. And it can be a little hit or miss, but when it hits, it's really good, because you've got 8 barrels all out the front. Now with that Miyoko almost dead, I only fire 1 volley at him. He ended up burning down before it got there, but I conserved the fire. You know, you can't waste volleys on ships that are going to be dead trying to get a kill. Having seen the Moss, I knew he was there. I was turning well in time to dodge these torpedoes. Unfortunately, it will put me side on to the Scharnhorst, but because it's AI, the Scharnhorst is more focused on other things. He shoots right over top of me to attack our battery, because that's what the AI cares about. And little things like this, they seem lucky, but it's the way the game works, and you gotta abuse it. When you see a ship really focused in on one of those land establishments, as you can see, he cares more about that frickin' battery, and maybe he knows something we don't, and I've seen these batteries absolutely ruin ships. But with 2 more volleys, I do 10,000 damage, and he's pretty much a goner. So I'm gonna ignore him. I've got those quad-barreled secondaries on the stern of my ship. They can shoot at him. And I'm getting my barrels around, because we do still have an Izumo, Gneisenau, York, and a Shiratsu to deal with. But at this point, it's locked down. Look at the hit points just melt off that Shiratsu from these batteries. You know, I'd say the batteries are somewhere in between your secondaries and primaries as far as the damage they can do, but also their accuracy is very good. Coming around here, I felt, hey, it's a pretty good shot on the Izumo. His engines are out, he's barely moving. I had HE loaded because I thought I was going to have to deal with the Shiratsu, so I fling it at the Izumo, 4,700 damage at a fire. And that's pretty much going to spell his death, because he'll put the fire out, and then one of our carriers will finish him off. So we're just going to continue to push. We got to keep this York and Gneisenau from getting in too close, because it would really suck at this point to lose one of the Liberties or the St. Clair or any of those shore establishments. Once again, though, you can see that Gneisenau, he's focused on other things. So I'm just going to keep my bow pretty much straight at him. One of the reasons I love the Dunkirk in this mode. I personally feel I'm very aggressive against the AI. It's what works best for me. It's not going to work best for everyone because you've got to preserve your hit points. Most of mine were lost to those torpedoes earlier on. But at this point, everything's in front of me. I've got a strong enough bow that when angled correctly, I'm not eating damage from these kind of ships. And all my guns are right there to do the damage. And you can see already in chat, did we actually do it? Like, we're getting excited. And part of the reason it's funny is this is the game after we lost about half our division. And we managed to do it, but to Savea and Green, we'll come back. We'll get this again because I think we've kind of figured it out. And it was applying some of my own advice in that you've got to be outside this kind of inner ring. It's too tempting to sit behind these islands, use them as cover and just lob shells. You need to be proactive, head the enemies off. That's how you get the 5 stars. So with just a Yubari and Tenryu left, there's not much to see here, but horrible, horrible baby killing. So let's hop to the post-battle. And there it is, those 5 precious stars that mean everything and yet nothing, because it is a game at the end of the day. So what matters? Did you have fun? And we had a lot of fun on stream last night doing this. Some of the games are frustrating because when you're playing in a division, you're like, okay, I've got some teammates, they're going to do the smart thing. And then every once in a while, everybody gets stupid. So long as you never go full retard, though, you're going to have fun. And the results kind of speak for themselves. And interestingly, you can see our top player was our Independence. Battleship 4 did a great job. And I was happy to add him into the division and hope he'll play through some of these things in the future because the operations are all different and challenging in their own way. And as each one comes out, I'm going to release a video on them to just talk about them. And if I can get the 5 stars, I'll show you how I did that too. And in this one, it really was about a team effort. I got a lot of damage into different ships, but you're going to. They're AI, they're bots. The results don't matter so much as far as stats go. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you can learn from it. Please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you later.